hello. I am making a video with yet another glove. This one contains mango, I think mango peach. Oh, this is total heaven on earth. This is total heaven on earth. So I'm gonna take these to the other house. See, I had this here while we're at the other house. I had this in the original container, which actually has some kind of mosquito screen over it, but with large holes, which is not a good idea, obviously, because a fly got in it. A fly was attracted to this mango fruit smell. Okay, so, and got in it and contaminated the solution. Still looks good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's still good looking. Oh, the way these gloves feel. And the sounds that they make, so amazing. This is really, really awesome, is that? Yummy, yummy. This is total heaven. This is essential overload pleasure. This is what I need for my nerves. I found it. I found it. I found the solution. The ultimate therapy. This is the ultimate therapy. Do it. Try this out. Buy air freshener balls and surgical gloves and then pour them in there. The whole container goes into one glove. One ball fell on the floor earlier and I thought, do I want to put it in here? But then it will contaminate it. I didn't realize the fly was already in here. I would have put it into. But then I thought, oh, I've always wanted to inspect one of those. And I tried to squish it and it didn't even squish. I thought, oh my gosh, are they made out of a rubber material? Some kind of rubber material? Because they're pretty sturdy, actually. So I played around with this for a while. I thought maybe I can make myself some kind of neckband, like a pendant type of neckband or choker or something, and one that has a pocket, and then I would put that thing into the pocket like a clear plastic type of pocket or something. I have these ideas, so different ideas on how to wear a dummy camera to make people not mess with us. It's always good to have a dummy camera on you, hanging on you. But it would be better to have a real camera hanging on you. And the best is the 24-hour surveillance camera. You just plug it into your Chromebook and it will retrieve the images or the video. So yeah, but then I decided I'm gonna squish it real hard, this one ball, and then it squished apart into some kind of, I don't know, like a gel, sort of broken up gel ball. I don't know, like gelatin type of material, something like that, but very sturdy. And smells real good. And I rubbed it in my hands, and then I threw the rest into the trash, and then I rinsed my hands, and it felt like this ball actually contains some kind of detergent, some kind of soap sud. So I wonder if this can even be used as a soap. I wouldn't put it into the washing machine. That's not a good idea. It will come out all splattered over the clothes with little bits and pieces of gelatin. So I really like it when the sun shines into it. It's wonderful. It illuminates these balls. Heaven on earth. Oh, I'm so hooked on this now. Oh God. That's my new obsession. It's gonna be my new obsession now. I wonder, I hope this is not toxic. I hope this is safe. Oh God. This is so incredibly nice. I didn't realize how nice this was. Been thinking of buying these balls for a while. So I finally did. I bought 3 of them. So one is at the other house. This one I just poured this in today, and then I have another container with watermelon scent, pink ones, like, I don't know, more like a real strong pink. And so I'm probably going to transfer this into a glove tomorrow. And then I will bring these gloves to the other house where we need the air freshener to cover up the original people that lived, the original people's scent that lived there before us. And when we first moved into this house, it had a pharmaceutical, old people's smell in that house mixed in with cat litter. So that was a lot of work cleaning all of that up. I got violently sick. I didn't use a face mask. Oh my gosh, how many times I got sick? Like 4 times, with incredible vomiting and diarrhea. It was heavy duty. Some real serious bacterium or virus that these people had, that they didn't even bother to clean that up before they moved out. But I guess what happened is, it's a repo, it's a bank repo, and the people were probably chased out by the bank, which is horrible, you know. This is really horrible. This is not funny at all. This is really horrific, because they couldn't, it wasn't doable anymore for them with the property tax and the payments on the house, the mortgage payments to the bank. So they let it go. And then the bank repossessed it. And then they put it on the market as is. And we got it then in 2010 because we were the only cash investors. There were at least 10 other people interested in it. But obviously they didn't have the cash. So, and we had the cash because we sold the house in Marina del Rey, and we got that house, which was actually in joint tenancy with Ernie, Paul's dad, for a long time. We got that house because Paul's mother made sure that Paul and his Doberman dogs will inherit half of the house. She could only inherit him half of the house because the other one was already in joint tenancy with Ernie, and Betty didn't like that situation at all. She wanted Paul to have the whole house, but that's the best they could do. And then Ernie was real mad because he didn't like Paul. They had a falling out Paul's entire life. Ernie was mean to Paul as a child already. He wasn't mean to the other boys, his brothers. I don't know what was going on there with Ernie. He scapegoated. Well, I don't like that word, scapegoat. I don't like it. So there should be a better word for that. It's horrific what happens sometimes with people that have unresolved mental issues, right? So they'll let it out on one person and not on the others. I have no idea why. I was also, in the same sense, I was mistreated as well by my grandfather and by my mother. Okay. It's horrific. It's painful for a child. I mean, it can make someone crazy. It can make someone grow up and be mentally unstable and be confused and schizophrenic. It can drive people into schizophrenia, which happened to me. Okay, so it took me literally 60 years to finally see the whole picture of it. See them for what they are. So I don't hang out with them. I don't hang out with people that are mean for whatever their reason is. But I understand now that obviously they were not well, or they would not have acted like that. They were not well because they had unresolved issues. And I watched a guy last night talk about this with his mother, and he mentioned, something that I thought was very, very interesting. He mentioned that when he visited her and was talking to her, she would have this mean smirk on her face, and she would begin the whistling, like a mean whistling or humming, and she'd completely ignore him and just do the mean humming and whistling. My grandfather has done that. That is a sign of completely unresolved mental issues, unresolved stuff that has never been properly addressed, okay, never been talked about. And they treat people like this, including their own children, when the children question things. They may not even question the very person, but they may question their teachers or society or maybe Hollywood or something, and that can be enough of a trigger to trigger these unresolved issues in that person that is actually, because they never talk about their issues, they keep it locked up, they keep it suppressed. And then so once they see someone address things that are happening in society, then they might even take this personally. They might feel personally criticized. There's a lot of people that obviously that like Hollywood, or they like the sexism in Hollywood. They grew up in the 50s. They never questioned it. They suppressed their pain. So what happens then? It's a simple equation. When they suppress their pain of being mistreated by a patriarchic society, when they suppress it, then naturally they will go against anyone, any feminist who exposes that society. The society that hurt the narcissist as well, right? That hurt the grandmother as well when she was a child. But she suppressed it. And so then later on, there's no way she is even going to accept someone else talking about it in a critical way. Talking about that very society that the grandmother wants to declare as good or righteous or whatever. My mother falls into that category as well. You know, my mother be driving, I sit next to her in the passenger seat in Germany. She sees someone not driving well. She looks closer, a woman on the steering wheel. It's like, what a disconnect. It's like, hello, you are a woman too on a steering wheel. Why would you be so dismissive and go like, oh, they don't know how to drive, it must be a woman. I see it's a woman. Dismissed. Right. It's like, that never made any sense to me at all, this kind of disconnect. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to make her mad. I catered way too much to my mother, particularly in the first 20 years of my life, the first 25 years of my life, 26 years of my life, until I moved to LA to do primal therapy. Oh boy, my mother warned me before I left. She said, don't let them turn you against us. Don't let them turn you against me. But primal therapy obviously unleashed a landmine in me. Okay, so, and that's when my criticism started. And that was not good, because that didn't help my mother the slightest bit, okay, to be criticized. She would just go, if you criticize a narcissist, their entire childhood comes up, okay? They just retreat more into the act out than even to begin with, right? So they become mad, they become angry, defensive, they have excuses. So, but a narcissist let's not demonize them. Don't demonize them. Those are people that are mentally ill. They have extreme unresolved issues that were never addressed in any proper way. That's why we need therapy help centers. I already mapped it all out, how this needs to be happening, okay? We do at least start with one, but I can't talk to Paul about that. He's a narcissist, by the way, too. He's a vulnerable narcissist. That's a term that Sam Vaknin came up with, I guess. Vulnerable narcissist. There's a whole zoo of narcissists out there. So they're not all equal. They're not all the same. Some are malignant narcissists, right? My parents were not malignant narcissists. Not even my grandfather was a malignant narcissist. He was just so badly triggered by me. It was such a painful thing for him. All I needed was just to sit there at the table and eat cake and drink my tea. That's all that was necessary to trigger the shit out of this man. Okay, so it's the truth. See, with my brother, my brother is actually a malignant narcissist. With my brother, when he was growing up, teenager and so on, I got along fairly well because every time I became a trigger, I was able to clown it off. Okay, so I know how to clown things into the clown department. She's just a clown. She's just clowning around, right? Then it's the trigger lets off. Okay, so, but at some point later on, I didn't clown it off anymore. I let him sit with it. So I let him process that, and he would get mad. Particularly in my 50s, when I talked to him on Skype, halfway around the globe conversation, he would get red in the face, completely red, and he would start drumming on this table where everything would flip up. My grandfather used to do these kind of things too, these overreactions. I praised Donald Trump, and my brother completely freaked out. So I asked him, "Are you friends with Muslims by any chance?" And of course the answer was a clear yes. But he didn't say a clear yes. He felt exposed by that question, but it exposed the truth. Okay, so he said, "Well, yeah, nah, I have different friends and I have the right to party." Party with jihadists, okay? Did they tell you to claw your fingernails into your wife's arm? Well, leave me alone. That's the reaction, like, she was mean, excuses, She was not nice to me. She was so annoying. Oh, well, that's an excuse for violence, for physical violence? Well, my friends told, you mean your Muslim jihadist friends told you that was okay. I see, I get it. So I was not clowning it off anymore, and he got so freaking mad that he drummed on the table, and then one of us turned the conversation off. I don't remember who it was. I think it was him. That made me so mad. Oh gosh, that made me so mad. Oh man, that made me mad. I could have beaten him. So I'm glad I wasn't there. Glad I was not there. I have a pretty choleric nature. When I see injustice, the Medusa comes out. So I was very glad I was not there. I was glad the conversation did not happen in person, but on the internet, on Skype. So, because that made me so incredibly mad. I could have punched him. Absolutely. These excuses, the malignant excuses and for violent behavior and all of that. But anyway, enough of this person. Let him be. Let him deal with his situation. I then also accepted that he takes the entire inheritance, he takes the house, all of that. Go ahead, take all of it. So I'm already here anyway, so it becomes very difficult to claim your rights for inheritance and stuff. Becomes very difficult. One building is in my name that he could never liquidate. And that's the only reason why they even have food on the table, is because of the monthly rental income from that rental building. So if it wasn't in my name, my dad would be in a governmentally mismanaged and badly run institution for old people that fall through the grid. So because of this, because my mother wisely put that into my name, and she kept saying that was urgent and all of that, but it didn't make any sense. She did not disclose all of this to me, the full truth about the inheritance situation. She was like talking around the subject. So, and it didn't make sense. Neighbor lady singing to her dogs. Eckhart Tolle said at the Oprah Winfrey show, money can buy you distance to your next door neighbors. Whisper Post. That made Oprah Winfrey really angry, but she didn't say anything. I wonder why. I mean, your Swedish neighbor is probably really, really quiet, right? I'm just, so maybe that's why Oprah Winfrey got mad. And he didn't even say Swedish or Muslim or whatever ethnic group. He didn't mention it. He just said, money can buy you distance to your next door neighbor, and you have a quiet, peaceful, tranquil Buddhist monastery life, okay, in nature, with nature sounds. No barbecue smells or marijuana whiffs coming over, or poor pigs roasted, or little children roasted, and no singing of brutal whatever rap songs. None of that. That stays far in the distance. Yeah, he only said that, and that made her mad, made Oprah Winfrey mad, because she assumed that he was thinking that Swedish people are quiet and the other ones are not. So she took offense to it. Doesn't she herself in Montecito has a big property, $50 million property in Montecito with hot spring water? Doesn't she also enjoy the distance to the next door neighbors? Just a question, yeah. It's a legitimate question. So, I'm not saying all of those are that way or all of those are that way. I'm just saying there are demographic differences. It's a fact. Let's address it. Okay, let's address this. It needs to be addressed or we can't move forward at all. We can't fix the problem if we can't discuss the problem. So, obviously. So, now this leads me now to another subject. And that is the subject called the substance. I don't know if you have seen that movie, watched the movie The Substance by a French director lady. Awesome, amazing award-winning film director, movie script writer and director. Incredible artist. Oh, high praise to her. So she made a couple of award winner movies already. I need to watch those. I'm scared. I'm really scared to watch them. I'm terrified. I'm really terrified. I don't know, that might trigger another nervous breakdown. I have to be careful with those things. So her latest one is a horror movie called The Substance, with Demi Moore as the leading role, and Dennis Quaid, I think is his name, Quaid, and a young actor lady, I can't remember the name. Complicated names, it's difficult. I would have to literally study these names for a while and rehearse them in order to remember it. But the movie is about Hollywood star who is making the director, played by Dennis Quaid, making him very rich. But at some point she's like 50 or 55 and the makeup doesn't cover it up anymore, and the 80s extra strong leg stockings don't cover it up either anymore, and the swimsuit thing and all of that with the corset, it becomes more and more difficult. So and I have not watched the whole film, so I can't even give a spoiler here because I only go by bits and pieces. But it sounds so incredibly artistic and stunning. Also, the shots are incredibly stunning and gruesome, so gruesome, and so straightforward. That it's delightful. It's a criticism of society, a real bold one, and I'm always on board with that. So that's an artistic and bold and very, very, not just bold, but very aggressive way of criticizing society. So yeah, that was about a year ago, I guess, the movie. Someone mentioned it in a comment section. So that's why I checked it out, I researched it, I watched all of these clips, and I was absolutely intrigued. But I have to be careful because Asperger's and schizophrenia and highly sensitive horror movies have made me dive into a total psychotic breakdown and episode. Okay, so it has happened before. It has happened 2 times, one time really intense in 2012. It was so intense it lasted for half a year. I thought I was never going to come out of it. And I had already left the psychiatrist behind and all of that long time ago in LA. I left the psychiatrists in LA. What happens in LA can stay in LA, for my personal view, right? Yeah, I've seen so many psychiatrists in LA. I almost know them all, right? Some of them are completely wacko, or completely batshit whack. Some of those. They don't have their shit together at all. I wonder if they're testing their own drugs on themselves as well. But they sure tested me. But in that movie, there's the drug called the substance. And apparently that substance injected will grow a clone inside of the person that injects it. And then the clone kind of liquidates the person on the inside and then breaks through the back. the perfect alien effect type of. I love it. This is so incredible. This is so incredibly artistic. I love that. But then the original host does not die, so I don't know what the problem is with this. So I don't know how. I'm just going by what people are talking about. They didn't expect the ending, so I assume maybe the whole thing was a dream, and she wakes up and from this dream and realizes that what she's doing there in Hollywood is hogwash, and signs her resignation. So I'm just that's my own extrapolation. I don't know how the ending is. I have no idea. But I saw Conan O'Brien making fun of that using that theme and coming out of the back of this prosthetic woman and then going back into the prosthetic woman after he danced around. So that made me think, so maybe, because I didn't see the original movie version ending, they don't want to give too much away, so of course, but I have the feeling that she went back into that. The young version that came out of the old version went eventually back into the old version. As Jiddu Krishnamurti said, we must go into our own minds. We must go into ourselves. Then my brother made fun of that statement because I talked about this all the time. We must go into ourselves. So my brother created something or caught something on the internet where someone is going back into themselves, or tearing themselves up and then going into themselves in a weird way or something. So I have the feeling this movie director is probably familiar with Jiddu Krishnamurti and Buddhism and meditation and inwardness meditation, and she heard it many times when they said go into yourself, so she probably utilized that as well, because it's also a philosophical film in some ways. So she first fought the host body zombie real hard. Tried to kill her and all of that. Didn't work. The host body zombie did not die. So, and it went real bad. It went really berserk. Unbelievable. And and then she must have decided, okay, so if the host body doesn't die, I can't live like this, then I'm gonna have to go back into the host body and end it there and just accept my fate as whatever. As that Elizabeth, who the movie director was about to fire, and just go back to that and be fired or even resign. Go into your own mind, go into yourself, is the message, because you have no other choice. You can't fight. You can't fight against yourself. Okay, it's also very, very symbolic. The two versions of the same person. The young version, the old version, the clone and the host, the parasite and the host. It's all the same person. Okay, you can't run away from yourself. No matter how much you try, you can't run away from yourself, particularly not psychologically. Okay, so you can go under the knife, you can have plastic surgery done, but you still can't run away from yourself. You might look better for a while, but you still can't run away from the psychology, from the unresolved hurt and pain, right? Only someone would mutilate themselves, and I call it mutilation. Someone would mutilate themselves, being cut open and all of that, to look young again, right? Only someone who has totally unresolved issues and is in denial would do something like this. It's a state of denial to cut yourself up and stretch your skin. It's denial. And also thinking that life doesn't even go on unless you do it. Well, that's the plastic surgery industry really got you there by the throat. They have also made sure to embed that message into you in a very subliminal, in a very sneaky, backstabbing way, okay, in a psychological operation type of way, okay. That's how they got the public completely tethered to believing that they need to do these things so they can get a boyfriend, or they can get a young boyfriend, or whatever. When in reality, there's plenty of young men who would actually like to have an older woman as a girlfriend. It's the truth. Okay. I had many young men coming onto me who are trying to get my attention. Most of the time, because I'm extremely picky, I don't look at them. I'm doing my own thing. I make a big circle around people when I go shopping. So one time I was at Fred Meyer and I was in the candy aisle looking at the different chocolates, putting stuff in my shopping cart, when a 15-year-old boy, that's how young he looked, right? 15-year-old boy came up to me and asked me about the candy, and the look on his face, like very mischievous, And he just kept on tying me up and asking me more questions. Then he said, "Are you from Germany?" And wanted to talk to me. And, well, I don't fall into that, of course. I'm not going to prison. So I treated him for what he is, a friendly, fun little teenage boy, and I was the nice grandmother. Okay, so, and then I said, "Well, it's nice to talk to you," and I walked away. So I did not flirt. No flirting. Okay. He was flirting real heavily. I did not flirt. I just explained these things to him. Yes, I'm addicted to candy. It's not fun. It's not good for us. All of the sugar and all of this. So I go into lecturing. And then I said, "It was nice talking to you. Take care." Okay. And I left. And that's how I deal with underage boys. Okay. So, but it's happened several times. Okay. So, obviously, they are interested. They like to learn something from an older woman. Okay. Not just sexually, but also as a friend, as someone they find interesting. Yeah. Someone who is not conventional. Someone who is very warm and welcoming and kind. Of course, they all would like to have a mother figure or a grandmother figure in their life who is nice to them and not narcissistic. But Hollywood movie stars, women, and the criticism was obviously against the male-dominated world of Hollywood, where the director, played by Dennis Quaid, Dennis Quaid is also in the same age range as Demi Moore and myself, right? But no one kicks him out. No one finds fault with his wrinkles or the way he eats shrimp or something. It makes a big mess, right? No one dares to speak out against him. Every woman, even young women, will throw themselves at him. "Please hire me. I'll sleep with you." So, but the woman, she gets all the abuse. The woman that has been the cash cow for 40 years will be tossed into the dumpster eventually, when the face is not as fresh as they would like to have them, right? So there's something seriously wrong with that, and that's why the lady addressed this in this horror movie, in the most drastic way you can address this. So, I already saw people that didn't like the movie, and those are the ones that are identified with Hollywood. Those are the ones, even women, that didn't like it. People like my mother, right, who identify themselves actually with a sexist society, out of denial, total denial. It's always total denial, and disconnect, and identification, and suppressing the unfinished issues, psychological issues, suppressing all of that. So someone speaks out, the movie itself speaks out, and the narcissist who suppresses the stuff is then triggered by this criticism of that movie, by the movie being the criticizer. Okay? That's a fact. This is how it goes. But don't demonize the narcissists, because they're just, it's a pitiful way of living. Okay, I watched my mother like this my whole life until she died. I watched her be in that state of denial. Never dealt with it. When I suggested to go with me to Geneva to Esther Odermatt to do primal therapy, she stamped her foot on the floor so hard that the whole house was shaking. And she said, should I at 70 now go into therapy? I said, let it, forget it. I could see there was no way to get through to her at all. She was terrified of that suggestion even. Why? Because the narcissist does not want to get exposed. Okay? Not because they're evil or something. They can become very evil in their act out. This is all disconnect, based on disconnect. It is based on an incessant worry about other people being able to see through them. So the idea of going to therapy to Esther Odermatt, she's also treated Esther Odermatt before, not very good, when we were in LA at Arjanov's. So my mother saw Esther Odermatt there a couple of times and talked to her. And Esther was nice enough to even visit with my mother and me outside of her payment and her role as being a therapist, which was very, very nice of her, going to a restaurant with us, talking to my mother and all of that. But my mother was not nice to her because my mother saw Esther as a potential exposer of her issues. Okay. No. One time a photographer, I have no idea how she met this lady. Bettina, I think is her name. Photographer from LA. US American, but obviously German roots. Somehow someone told my mother about Bettina, the photographer. And my mother met with her, and I happened to be there as a sidekick as we went to lunch with her, with that photographer. And the photographer, because she was friends with the same person that my mother was friends with, she decided, okay, I'll meet them since they're there, talk to them for a while. And that photographer saw through my mother like X-ray eyes. And my mother saw that. See? Even if they see it unconsciously and not even be consciously aware, they see it unconsciously. They're so psychically paranoid that they will see this unconsciously and then withdraw from that person or become mean to that person. That's why my grandfather was mean to me, because he saw that I saw through him. If I didn't laugh at his joke, my brain reversing things, I didn't laugh at my grandfather's jokes. My facial musculature did not reveal to my grandfather any kind of companionship or ally. No, I was the outsider looking in. So that made him mad. That made him mean to me. And he would find fault with my appearance, with the way I walk, all kinds of things. Right? He was vicious to me, absolutely vicious. Just like the haters, okay, same viciousness. So the haters have been very vicious because I was in the same sense. I wasn't laughing about their jokes. I would even say to them, bro, that sounds psychopathic. It's not funny, right? And then they feel criticized, and then they feel rejected by all of that, and they feel humiliated by it, even though I didn't intend to humiliate anyone. And then they become absolutely unhinged vicious. So vicious that they made me cry. And here I was just speaking the truth, right? I'm trying to expose things in a well-meaning way. I'm giving people feedback. Don't say this. Don't say something. Don't wish someone death. Or they're malignant narcissists. All of my haters are malignant narcissists. And my brother is too. No difference between them at all. It's sad, all of that. Very, very sad. It's almost like a prosthetic hand. Now, if we had jail balls that had the same color as the substance, then that would be even more of a theme background. I wished someone allowed me to work as a film director. I wished a good film director would let me do it. I mean, all I need the film director for is, of course, their experience and knowing the camera angle and all of that, knowing the makeup, having all of that right ready for me. And I just have to step into the maid nest, me the artist, right? And I will say, this is how I want to do it. I want my artwork to become alive in form of rubber, prosthetics that move, actually. Horror movie, action set, mask builder. Make my artwork become alive. We can make a horror movie out of it if you want to. So it would be awesome. That just gets me all dreaming of what I would like to do, with my art. I want to get the cake and eat it too. I don't want to go to a film school and do all of that. No, I want to already get all of that made so I can just step in and dictate to how it's gonna be done. So anyway, peace and love. Here, peace sign here for all living beings and all prosthetics.